I can't believe that lady is actually thinking of suing Gorilla Glue. It's just like the McDonald's hot coffee. Nope! What? It's not like that. It's not like the hot coffee thing. Stop comparing it to the hot coffee thing. I mean, come on, that is a textbook frivolous lawsuit. Like, who doesn't know that coffee is hot? The coffee in the famous McDonald's case was not just hot. It was between 180 and 190 degrees. That's almost boiling. That is way hotter than the normal drinking temperature for coffee. And 700 other people had been burned by the coffee before. But McDonald's continued to keep the coffee that hot because they wanted to cut down on refills, since it would take a long time for the coffee to cool down enough to drink so people wouldn't get a refill as often. The woman in that case suffered third-degree burns on her genitals. And she never wanted to sue McDonald's for millions. All she wanted was $20,000 to pay for the skin grafts she had to get and lost wages. That would have been nothing for McDonald's to pay, but instead they offered her $800. Only then did she decide to go to court. Their settlement was actually much larger than she asked for because the court agreed that McDonald's acted irresponsibly. She didn't even end up getting that much. McDonald's ran a successful smear campaign against her, and now 20 years later she's a laughingstock.
Good night to people with daddy issues. Girls under 5'2". Those who project onto fictional characters in an unhealthy amount. Sexy bitches. Anyone who has under $20 in the bank account. Unemployed bastards, people who miss going to the library, anyone who read Warrior Cats books in their youth, people who identified with Jack from the Magic Treehouse series as a kid, LGBTs, girls with no ass, anyone who had an obsession with Orlando Bloom as a preteen, lip gloss wearers, and people that desperately need to get railed.
1, 2, 3.
Lightning collabs, making art with my friends, but we're wearing masks.
Today's episode, Left at London.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Hi, baby, don't mess around. He loves me so, and this I know for sure.
Louder.
What?
Louder.
Why does she really wanna fucking stand to see me walk out the door?
Follow my tempo.
What tempo?
And that was a lightning collab.
No cap, facts, no printer. Copy, no translate. Period.
You think you're the only generation that said weird shit? Translate this. Not even. You got domed down from Greasy Kelly with the big corn? I heard she gums it up for 2 Neopets and a stick of gum. Follow me, you fucking idiots.
Ditch with the moment you knew your relationship was.
When I questioned him why there was an urn in our living room and later found out it was so he could cheat on me and tell people that's the reason there's still pictures of me up in our house and why there's womanly decor was because I'm dead.
What's wrong? Snake!
Oh my gosh, you were so late. Okay, you're in section 20, 21, 22, and 38, and you have
I lost the guy's credit card.
Getting
I lost the guy's
20,
credit
21,
card.
I got waters.
Where are all the water pitchers?
Now, okay?
There you are. Where the hell were you?
I need birthday singers.
All right, well, let's get to it, okay? I
can't have this again,
okay?
Runners,
Don't be late again.
I need runners, guys. I need runners. What the hell does this mean? No sauce, extra sauce on side. What the hell is that? Want some food? Smell my hair. Do I smell like this place?
Come on, guys.
I do, don't I?
It's
It's like oil and dirty floor mats.
Pace your tables, guys. The kitchen's getting killed.
Who took the last coffee? Didn't make more.
Are you okay? Right?
Did you hear 86 money?
Nobody told me.
Hi, are you ready to take another pour top?
I have another sedate groom for you guys. We sedated her because she's a grumpy cat and she's got a few mats all up in here, which is painful to get rid of. I start with a nail trim always, just in case she wakes up. She can't attack me. Then I shave the hair out of the pads using a 40 blade, which is part I find very satisfying. And then after that, I continue with other prep work. I use a 15 blade to shave around her butt and shave around her belly. And then I go down her whole body using this 10 blade. And I make sure I get everything before the bath because she will be awake after the bath and I won't be able to do anymore. So here's the bath. You can see she's kind of starting to wake up. And then I put her on the blow dryer and then she's awake and she's all finished.
What is a project you started for literally no reason and then you finished it and you're like, why did I do this in the first place? I'll go first. So during quarantine, I thought it would be a fantastic idea to buy silkworm eggs, raise them, and harvest them for their silk. They started out as little tiny eggs. Look how tiny they are. They're really, really tiny. That's them on mulberry chow. That's what they eat. They started getting bigger. I started feeding them real leaves. That's them munching. I started getting bigger. They turn white when they get bigger. This dude was munching. They were eating so many mulberry leaves at this point. I had to literally feed them twice a day. It was a real career. It was a chore. I have no idea why I decided to do this. This is him making his silk cocoon. And then there was this one dude who had no respect for me whatsoever. That's my dresser. And this is him coming out of his cocoon. And then, boom, this is him flying. This is what the moths look like.
I'm a big dog, big bear, nigga, I'm a lion.
But won't somebody show me how to get back up? I thought about killing my landlord, but he was pretty nice. He said I paid my rent on time, as often as I could. I've been making strange friends in the desert. Yeah, they love Jesus and America too.
You all have seen the skyscraper, 432 Park Ave, that tall, lengthy, skinny skyscraper that kind of looks like a Lego structure. It was built to be the pinnacle of Billionaires Row. I mean, the ultra-rich are spending millions and millions and millions of dollars to live in these units. Well, it just came out in New York Magazine that the ultra-rich who live in this building, they're not satisfied. In fact, they're calling it, quote, a horrifying hellhole. Due to the extremely odd design, the $3.1 billion building is falling apart. Plumbing right now seems to be the biggest issue. There was this one time where there was leakage, it spilled into the elevator shaft, and they had to close down the elevator shafts. They shut it down for weeks. Keep in mind, this is a 1,400-foot building where people live in, and they shut down the elevators. How do you think those billionaires felt about that? And apparently in the elevators, if there's big wind, you're gonna see some malfunctions in the elevator as well. A billionaire claims he was entrapped in there for 30 minutes. There are so many problems with this building right now, and you guys gotta read about the story. I'll put it in my bio.
This is the man unfortunately known as Black Mozart. You see, Mozart was jealous of him, and much of his music was actually influenced by him. His name is Joseph Boulogne, and he was not only a masterful 18th century composer, but a champion fencer, an excellent dancer, and a knight in the court of Louis XVI, not to mention one of the sexiest men in history. Boulogne was born in Haiti to George Boulogne and his wife Slave. At a young age, his father shipped him to Paris to be educated, and he quickly excelled. At 17, he became the talk of France when he and Alexander Picard, a fencing master, threw down in a very public duel heavily bet upon by abolitionists and pro-slavery partisans. Boulogne's victory made him a celebrity. Despite a lot of racism, he became an acclaimed composer. He even caught the eye of Marie Antoinette and became her music teacher until he was fired when they got too close. When the French Revolution hit, Boulogne led a legion of people of color against the nobility and still found time to compose. His music was so successful and influential that in truth, we should be referring to Mozart as the White Boulogne.
Because they're all idiots, that's why. Okay, why would I call it an espresso shot? They don't know what that is. It's a turbo shot.
Cloud drivers don't know romance languages. Turbo's a word you'd hear in like Fast and the Furious. We have kind of a Vin Diesel crowd.
These are not geniuses. We didn't even spell donut right.
If you want a donut spelled with a UGH, you go to Starbucks. Dunkachino, Culotta, we make up words, fun words. Our base doesn't want to think too much. Gotta dumb it down. Because they're morons, that's why. We don't need to be putting big words in plow drivers' heads. These idiots still think of us as like a mom and pop operation. We have 5,000 locations. I'm richer than fuck. Are you recording? Don't do that.
So I'm a millennial Gen Z cusp. But I had a harrowing thought this morning that I thought some other millennials might be able to relate to. This morning, I was thinking about the middle part. How all the Gen Zs tell us to do one, but we were bullied in school for rockin' one. And yeah, it makes me feel old, but I'm sure that this isn't the first time that this has happened. Like, I bet when people who were young in the 80s got to the 2000s, they were like, what is all this straight hair? Are you telling me I put that much money into hairspray for nothing? And then I realized that analogy is a little too good. Because the 80s are to the 2000s, what the 2000s are to 2020. Let me give you an example. Myself listening to Drop It Like It's Hot by Snoop Dogg in the year 2021, which I do often, is equivalent to somebody listening to Jump by Van Halen in 2001.